How to Be Single is directed by Christian Ditter, and it stars Dakota Johnson and Rebel Wilson and Leslie Mann and way too many people. This movie is a romantic comedy that came out on Valentine's Day, and I was somewhat excited for it because, it's, romantic comedy, and it's, it looks funny, the trailers looked pretty good, and it's pretty just okay, It's a really disappointing movie for me because I thought it could have just been a nice, fun little movie, and the trailers made it look so, but it just was really just mediocre. It really wasn't all that funny, and it really kind of let me down that way because I didn't expect much, and honestly, I didn't really get much at all. So the story is basically Dakota Johnson, the girl from 50 Shades of Grey, in case you're confused. She is a out-of-college student, and she had a longtime boyfriend in college, and she's never been single, and so she's like, we're going to take a break, and so she decides to go to the big city and be single and see what that single world is like, and then she meets Rebel Wilson at her job, and then they have crazy adventures together, and then there's Leslie Mann, who's her sister, and then she has a whole story, and then there's a bunch of side plots, and then Allison Brie's in there for some reason, and the movie has no center, it has no focus. The movie, I thought, easily could have been a good movie. It didn't have to be great. I thought it easily could have just been a funny, simple, romantic comedy. I was watching it and I was like, I see where this is going. It reminded me a lot of That Awkward Moment. That Awkward Moment, either last year or the year before that, with Zac Efron and Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller. That was a movie that I went to see, and from the trailer, I knew exactly what I was getting in for. I thought it looked like a nice little romantic comedy, and that's what it was. It was a nice little romantic comedy. It had some funny moments in there. You cared about the characters enough. It was over, done, boom, you're out of there. That was a nice little movie, and that's what this movie looked like to me. From the very first trailer, I thought, man, it looks exactly like That Awkward Moment, but more focused on the girl characters instead of the guy characters. And so that's what this movie could have been to me. I thought, wow, this is going to be a nice little movie. I'm going to enjoy it. It's not going to be Deadpool, but it's, it'll be a nice little romantic comedy on Valentine's Day. And it just wasn't that at all. It was so unfocused, and the story moves around without any sense of time. You don't know how much time has gone by from scene to scene. It'll literally go from one scene, and then 6 months later, 3 months later, the girl gets pregnant, and then all of a sudden, in the very next scene, she's like, oh, you're far along. What? When did that happen? The movie confuses you, and it should just be a simple romantic comedy where it's easy to follow along. It's like, okay, this guy likes this girl, they're going to fall in love, they're going to fight, and then they're going to end up together. It's going to be a nice little movie, and this movie tries to do that. It has a storyline in there somewhere that is pretty simple, but then it adds like 15 other storylines. It adds all these unnecessary characters that just bring the story down because you don't care about them. There's too many to care about. You're mostly focused on Dakota Johnson, and it follows her story mostly, but then it'll go to Allison Brie and focus on her thing going on, and then it'll focus on Rebel Wilson just thrown in there. She was barely in this movie. I was expecting more of her and for her to actually be funny. I like her. I think she's a funny gal. But in this, she didn't really have much to do, and she would throw in some jokes in there, and they just weren't funny to me. Like, she didn't make me laugh one time, which was disappointing. Dakota Johnson, I think, she's an okay actress. I actually thought she might have been better in 50 Shades of Grey. And that movie sucked. But I don't know. I thought she was a little better in that movie than in this movie. I thought she was kind of, wooden in this movie. I don't know. I didn't understand why anybody would really want to be with her. I thought she was just kind of a pretty face, but not very likable. The person that I actually ended up caring about the most in this film was Leslie Mann. And I did not see that coming. Her part of the story with her and then this younger guy was the only funny thing in the movie. They made me laugh. The guy, the guy that she is with, the younger guy, he's hilarious. Him and there's another guy in the movie that have both been in pretty bad movies before, and I really liked him in this movie. See, the thing with this movie is I liked a lot of the people, almost all the people. I think that they're fun actors, and they were able to have some funny jokes in this, but they had no story to put the jokes in. It's like it was a random scene, and then like now we're following these people. Okay, but now we're back with this, and then how much time has gone by? And then the movie is all over the place, and it's so hard to follow, and it makes the movie feel so long. This is a movie that is an hour 40. It's not a long movie. Most movies are an hour 30, 2 hours, and if it's good, it flies by. Deadpool was longer than this movie, and Deadpool felt half the time of this movie. This movie, I honestly thought, after watching it, I was like, man, I thought that movie was like only an hour and a half. And I was like, it actually was only an hour and a half? I could have swore that I was just in the theater for 2.5 hours. This movie just felt so long because of the fact that it had no focus. It would just move all around, and it made you like bored. There was a scene in here that could have been fantastic. It was a scene that reminded me of Crazy Stupid Love. It had a perfect setup. I was just waiting to see the boiling point of like, oh man, what's gonna happen? And then nothing happened. It was just a boring scene. It was like one of the more boring scenes of the whole movie. And it set it up good, and nothing happened. It was the worst payoff. Nothing. I was so disappointed with this movie. I don't know what else to say about it. It was really just okay. It wasn't the hardest movie to watch. It's a good looking movie. You like the actors in it. They're not bad. It's just they're not good. They're not funny. They're not, you don't really care about their characters because there's too many things happening all around, and it just jumps all around. It's not awful to watch because there are some funny scenes, but overall it's a movie that's just if you watch it on Netflix, you could just have it on the background and be like, oh, that was all right. Even then, you'll be like, that was okay. I don't recommend seeing it. I don't recommend going out. It was okay. I didn't hate it, but my God, it so easily could have been just a better movie. If it just had focus, if it had better direction. I totally blame this movie on the director. And it's somewhat on the writers because not all the writing was good or anything, but the director really, really, he didn't do a good job on this one. He needed to take the reins and put some direction in this thing, but he did not do a good job. Overall on this one, I'm going to have to say 2. Yeah, I'll say 2. It was okay. Not awful. Some enjoyment, but 2 out of 5. Yeah. That's what I'm going to go. That's it. That's all I have to say about this movie. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this and you want to see more reviews from a guy like me, you can subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.